In the last video, I mentioned that I will be talking about why I always hate a certain artist, even if it isn't warranted for the sake of learning. Before I start talking about that, I want to address the issue of hate in general in the art community. I am not talking about specific my art teacher hates me hate here, but as in, I just hate this artist because he's a fellow artist type of hate. Humans, by nature, are social animals. While we do enjoy the company, it is no secret that we also love to hate others. In every group of best friends forever, there's often a designated person in the group that everyone will bash in secret. Common interests may bring people together, but what really gets everyone to start acting in unison is a common enemy. This is also commonly seen in the artist community. Many places I have been in the past, especially some random gaming forum, most artists usually hang out in a group as if it was some kind of high school. Being an artist myself, I do love talking about arts, and I will try to approach this group whenever I can. I actually used to find it quite easy to get along with these people when I was a beginner, but as I start to get better and move on from one place to another, it becomes a lot harder and harder to approach fellow artists. It's as if I have crossed a line that segregates me from the art community because I've reached a certain skill level, so I am no longer welcome into the cool art club. There was this one time, a game I was playing had an art contest, and all the artists were sharing their works in progress and complimenting each other on their ideas. I tried to approach this group with my shared work. The amount of nitpicking was crazy. I read through many of their posts, and they barely criticized each other, but the moment I shared mine, they tore everything apart. There was even this one comment I still remember to this day, that my style is not anime enough for this character, and I was like, the fuck? Funny enough, I used to love drawing a lot of female anime characters, but now, I'm pretty much a full-time furry trap artist. What a shift in interest. In retrospect, I used to be like this artist. I used to have trouble becoming friends with artists of similar style and equal or higher skill level. Everything they do that has absolutely nothing to do with me just annoys me for some reason, and I try to find fellow artists that hate these following artists as well. In a way, I think it has to do with the fact that when art is no longer just a for fun hobby, other artists start to feel like competition, and that makes them enemies by default. When someone is already viewed as an enemy, it becomes harder to view them neutrally. There's just nothing to make me view them as rivals. They just become unpleasant to have around even if I love their works and want to see more of them. The most important thing though, is how the artists will interact with those they view as enemies. In the story I just told, I had a feeling I was hated for no reason but the group of artists on that forum. And that I shouldn't stay for too long because I'm not going to have any pleasant experience. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm a holy figure myself, because I already mentioned that I used to view fellow artists in an aggressive manner too. I just used to do nothing loud about it and stick to gossiping that doesn't hurt anyone. But those that continue to treat other artists aggressively, it'll just end up hurting both sides. One will feel horrible and might even go as far as to give up on art. The other will just continue to be salty and find new targets to be salty about. And heck, this is coming from a person who gets salty easily. Instead of just blindly hating someone for drawing, use the hate and salt to improve as an artist. This brings us back to the mentioned topic of using the hate for the sake of learning. Whenever I want to start learning new art tricks, I just find an artist with a skill level that I will admire. Since humans love to hate, it's not really hard for us to turn that admiration into envy. Instead of using that envy to craft new posts to start bashing the artist, use that to try and nitpick everything you can gather. When you feel like hating something, it's far easier to start noticing all the small details that you often miss. You like this one person? Just compliment them on how beautiful or handsome they are, and that's it most of the time. When you hate that person, you can go on and on about how they dress, walk, eat, or even how they breathe. Use that observation skill to make it easier to steal and copy tricks from the artists you admire. Figure out what kind of brush they use, how they color, or even the layer setting they use. When you start noticing this yourself, you will start to pick up new tricks that you have no idea that exist to begin with, and they'll stick so much harder than the tricks you learn from reading tutorials because you are experimenting with them yourself. When you're done being envious of that one person, move on to the next. Never stop using your hate for something positive and become a better artist. That's it for this video. I'll see you next time.